Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Tuna in the TITSC3 qualifier result and round of 16 showcase. This is Alice, and today with me as the second caster we have Manuel. Say hello.
Hi. Hello. We have the qualifiers results. We did have the qualifier showcase last week. These 26 players, I think, played in their respective qualifier lobby, and we will see how everyone did. So I think we can jump right into it.
Yeah, I think we can just hop right into it. I mean, there isn't much players, so I guess it will be quite short. And we will be sort of kind of skipping most of the players until we get around the 20 mark. So the first 6 players won't maybe get as much recognition here, but we are on a little bit of a time crunch. So I guess without further ado, let's move into it.
Yep. So the first player that is unfortunately not going to be qualifying is going to be Glitch_RX, as they have unfortunately bottom scored every single map. Not the SV though. They did not bottom score the SV, which
generally holding averages of around 220,000 points. I mean, there is, I guess, a reason why he didn't qualify, but we wish him all the best and for him to improve in his respective categories that he's lacking, such as a little bit on the jump stream side and maybe on the coordination. But yeah, the next player.
Yep. The next player is going to be Saturday. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I hope I did. But anyways, pretty in the middle with the scores here, as Rice one, they did get that 541, I think, and I think that's like their best. So yeah,
generally just holding B ranks here. We can see this is just a straight up maybe new player, or player that's just not very proficient yet at tournament play, just getting scores that are maybe not up to satisfactory level with tournaments overall. But once again, I mean, I see a good future in him. You know, he has the motivation to play tournaments. So yeah. We can move on to our next player, which is going to be Steel Line. So yeah, this player did actually really good on that coordination pick. So this is the first that they actually that any player got a really good score on the coordination, and that's actually their best map. So yeah,
it's pretty impressive.
I mean, this is an interesting thing here, because we're obviously dealing with players that are just not that good at the game yet, and what is really impressive to me is that you managed to get coordination as your best pick. That is interesting for sure. I mean, you usually would not see a player perform in coordination as well as, for example, in a Rice 1 or RC2. In general, just it kind of being it being the outlier of the skill set that you learn the least. So, I mean, this guy in the future could be the timing hell demon. We never know. But yeah, I think we can move over to C23.
C23 is going to be Aklimph. I think that's how you say it. I think their previous name was Maple Syrup. So yeah, pretty okay scores. They're just averaging around 510k, I believe. So yeah, I mean, the density was their best skill set, so maybe these players can actually be LN demons, like once they get to that skill level, like
in a couple years, once they gain that consistency, a little bit more physicality. I mean, these two just have the knack for a lens. I mean, these scores are pretty nice. Also, I do want to say, between C-Line seeding on LN2, there is only 5 points of difference between the players, which is pretty insane if you look at that. But I guess we can just skip over to the next one, as there's much to talk about in these early seedings, all things considered.
Yeah, and the next one is going to be Psychus Diff. So, actually, C22 and 23 actually have the same average rank, so that's actually kind of crazy that they were that close to each other.
Yeah, but I mean, here there's a huge difference in overall consistency, right? Because the SV kind of failed Sykes, but like overall, his scores are just kind of more consistent than Aklam's.
Yeah, and it does seem like that they did get the better scores overall. And they actually did really well in the race ones, getting that 745. So that's going to kind of carry their seed, but they are unfortunately not going to qualify for this tournament. And I guess that leads us to C21. So let's see who it is.
Yeah.
And
Kimio. Yeah, interesting player here. As we are going to be seeing so that the lower performances on LN1 and LN2, but I guess compared to the other players here, absolutely excelling at the races, holding that 94, maybe 95 range here. We're starting to S rank, and you know what? I don't know the scaling of this tournament, but if I'm going through MWC scaling, I mean A rank or like S rank on the MWC quarterfinals is not bad at all.
yeah.
So yeah, with that, I think this player could have done way better if he actually learned the SV, which I do recommend doing in these types of tournaments. As SV here, you see it makes a monumental difference in how you really do in your qualifier lobby, and I do believe this player could have qualified if that score on SV was 700k too. But yeah, without further ado, I think we can move over to C20.
Yeah, so C20 is going to be Ellen. I don't know. Let me see.
Ellen Lazy.
Okay. Yeah, so they are going to get C20. They're actually kind of tanking a bit on that coordination, but they did get 6 on the SV, so that's a first that we see a single-digit placement on the SV. So
yeah, and also we do have to remember, this is what I just said from the previous seed. Look at the overall averages of Ellen Lazy compared to Kimio, but just the fact that they did learn the SV made them actually made them place very, very high up, because the scores are kind of on par with C24 here, or maybe even lower. But what we are seeing is just the proficiency at SV that's a little better here, that made them place at C20. But now I think it's time for C19.
yeah, C19 is going to be SCFM. So yeah, we are now getting into the 800Ks. So this is the first time we are going to see an 800K, and they're actually going to get 800K on most of the maps. Just that Rice 1 and SV is going to tank their seed a little bit, which is unfortunately not going to lead them to be qualified into this tournament. But really good scores overall.
Yeah, I mean, here we're going into the big leagues, may I say that, because we're actually starting to see players that they're starting to actually be able to play these maps. And I mean, I do believe this one maybe possibly could be a qual without the kind of poor SV score compared to the other maps. But yeah, seed 18 it is.
Yeah, let's see who seed 18 is. And it is going to be I Blame Dark, and they're actually going to get a 5th on that SV. So yeah, that's actually really good, and it seems that they are averaging around 820k for that Rice. So it just seems like that Rice was their strongest skill set, but the Ellens kind of tanked that a bit, as well as the hybrid and the SV. But yeah.
I mean, could you really say it tanked their SV if they're seed 5 on it? You know, here we have the case of SV being in a pool of players that do not really encourage playing SV, or maybe they just don't know how to play SV. And here, a 630k being seed 5 is actually kind of surprising, but at the same time, this just means that this score, we should actually kind of turn it over and not look at the 900ks. Look at what's actually good for the seeding. And in this case, I mean, it's a pretty impressive SV score for this tournament. nonetheless. And I think we can move over to seed 17, which will be a pretty sad seed because it's the seed just below the qualification level. And it is going to be a sub noob.
Yeah, unfortunately not making it in to the bracket stages, unfortunately, as the SV kind of did tank that seeding a little bit. If they played the SV better, I think that they would have made it in, but unfortunately with that 259k, it's going to kind of drop them out. And they did averaging 900k on the entire pool except for the SV, which is actually pretty good. So yeah,
yeah, this is our first actual like tournament like player here. This is a player that we could see in the future in tournaments placing pretty high. But yeah, we can move over to the actual qualified players, and this is the most interesting part, I guess, right?
Yeah, so the first one is going to be Jugemu. You may know them if you were watching Katyum Cup, or maybe you might know them if you were in the tournament scene for a long time. And they have been an insane contributor to the tournament community. And here they are qualifying into Tuna in the C Cup 3, and they are actually going to get first on that SV, which is actually kind of the first. And I'm surprised that they are this low in the seeding, especially with getting first on that SV, which
I mean, you do have to look at this course. You need to look at the coordination score, etc. They're tanking ridiculously in maybe their overall physicality, but the SV is just making it up for them, and they are managing themselves to kind of get crammed into that qualified range. So good luck to you, Jigemu, and let's go see who seed 15 is.
Yeah, seed 15 is going to be Unstabilism, as they are really consistent with this entire pool, but it's just the SV. And it seems like that not a lot of players actually practice the SV, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know, SV is not always easy. So yeah, I mean, they are pretty consistent overall, and it does seem like that they are going to get double digit in everything. So yeah, just around the average of 16 at 11.
Yeah. So we can move over to seed 14, which is gonna be just some guy 97, actually holding some pretty nice scores here, kind of averaging that 900k here, as there are two outliers being LN2 and RC2 being respective kind of more physical picks, all things considered. We're gonna be seeing seed 9 and on SV being 559, which once again, kind of surprising that nobody really wanted to learn the SV picks. I feel like that's a very, very fun part of a tournament. But yeah, I mean, good luck to him, because he has some pretty nice scores. And I do believe in the actual bracket, once we start seeing the matches, he might be a pretty strong force to be reckoned with, especially looking at the physicality side of things. Yeah,
for sure. And this guy has been around for the community for a long time, or you might know them if you have been recently in the tournament community, and they are pretty much a regular player. So yeah, good job to just some guy. And I think we can move on to the seed 13, and seed 13 is going to be, God, I can't read the name. One sec.
Flagler. Possibly.
Flageller thing. Okay, thank you. Okay, so really good scores there. This is the first time we see a single digit in the Rice side of things, as they're going to get that 964, which is going to get them that top 10 spot. And same thing with Rice 2. They're actually pretty strong on that, as that was their best map alongside with the hybrid. So this person could be really scary when it comes to Rice picks and hybrid picks.
And yeah, this is just a very, I guess, Rice-centric little guy here, as we are going to be seeing mainly just the big highlight on the Rice. Also, I guess not bad, placing around the middle of the total players that have signed up SV score. So maybe SV won't be a free pick against them either. But yeah, I guess we can move over to see the 12, which is gonna be Tag M200. We're gonna have a gun. You're gonna have a gun in seed 12. That's alright.
Yeah.
And generally, the Chaytak M200 specializes in rice, and actually, no, never mind. They're just incredibly all-rounded. Having like an incredibly all-rounded seed, basically placing in their seeding, I mean 12, 13, 11, 11, 10, and the 18 on SV. This is just a very, very scary all-arounder in my opinion. And this is the first player who I can truly say has good scores all across the board, maybe besides DSV.
Yeah, I feel like for most of these players, I feel like the weaknesses outside of SV come down to that coordination, as it is going to be their least performed on this entire pool. So I mean, I can understand it because coordination is not easy. It's not easy at all, which I think most people would agree, and maybe there's some people that really enjoy the pattern that play it like almost every day. I mean, they some people find it easy and some people don't, but
coordination is the type of thing you have to play daily.
Yeah, but it seems like that these players have no weaknesses, or most of these players have no weaknesses on the coordination. So yeah, I mean, we can move on to seed 11, which is going to be Do the Thing 12. So this is the first time that we see 2 or more single-digit placements. So going to get that top 10 placement on Rice 2, LN1, and SV. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, so this player, I mean, the only thing that really stands out here as being sorta just the outlier for them doing poorly on a map is LN2, the density pick. I would argue that's not really much of an issue, all things considered, because like their performance is very, very good. Also, they kind of have the SV upper hand against some players. I mean, looking at the nearly 600,000 score on the SV, play seed 8. I mean, he has a total of 8 people that he could potentially just grab a free point on from the SV. So, I mean, yeah, this is gonna be quite a scary performer here, and I think he might go pretty far in this tournament. But yeah, I mean, I think we can see who seed 10 is, and we are gonna be slowly encroaching that mid seed. I guess we are already in the mid seeds because this is 16, and we're gonna be seeing that like the middle, the mid seed.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, let's get right into seed 10, which is going to be Qua. I think that's how you say it. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, we already had a seed leak, but yeah, they're really good when it comes to LN, especially with that density score, which is going to be their best in this entire pool. And well, no, Rice 2 actually. So Rice 2 is actually going to be their best on this, and it does seem like that the jump stream is these players' strengths when coming into this tournament. I feel like it's going to be a jump stream fight for whoever Kawhi has to go against.
I mean, it might also be that the jump stream in general, I mean, you have to look at the sort of history of the pattern. It has been used in pretty much everything new players play, and that sort of goes into the fact that I guess sort of everybody can play jump stream, and maybe this pick was a little bit too easy for this tournament, because these performances compared to the others, I mean, the seedings are crazy low for the amount of total score they got, because a 981 is like a 99.65 or something, right? And you have to think, these players are just incredibly performing. Like, they have an incredible performance on the RC2. So yeah, this will mainly just be a ratio battle here, but a very, very good score on the LN density, holding number 4, being seed 10. I mean, that's an incredible spotlight here, and nearly holding podium.
Yeah, and I guess we can move on to seed 9. So we are now getting more into the top 10, and Yeet Boy is going to be taking that 9th seed, as they are really strong Rice player. Seed 3 on Rice 1 and Seed 2 on Rice 2. This is going to be the Rice player.
Yeah, this is just gonna be the resident Rice player here with a podium on on a Rice 1, which is, I mean, wow, right? We have a seeded 9 player holding a podium already. And it makes me think that score must be incredible. And also, I mean, RC2 being number 2, holding 2 podiums. This guy just being maybe a little bit more push, Rice oriented. You know, not a bad performance on the Ellen density and hybrid either. Makes me think that he is such a low seed only because of the SV. Because I mean, his scores are incredible. But yeah, I think we can move over to the, I guess, sort of high seed range.
Yeah, around
number 8.
Number 8 will be BC1. So BC1 actually got 4th on the SV. So we are making some improvements with the SV average, but yeah, it seems like that they are well-rounded when it comes to Rice and LN, so they're gonna be having their strengths on that for now, but it seems like the hybrid kind of tanked their seed a little bit. But yeah, other than that, they're pretty well-rounded, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, overall, pretty well-rounded player, but like everybody knows BC1. He is just a very he's like a physical legend. Just a very solid player overall, I think. And then we can move over to seed 7, which will actually be interesting because the higher up we go here, the more sort of interesting things we're seeing. And the next person is gonna be Kaizo with a average rank of 7.67, which already is a big difference here. And gotta be like the most all-rounded player we've seen yet, with his only kind of negative spotlight here being his Rice 1 being specifically seed 11, the rest being either 6 or 7, which is absolutely crazy to me. How could you be that consistent in like a, you know, like a seeding? And then I mean 10 on the SV, which is, I do believe, respectable. And yeah, no, it's good luck to him, because if he's so all-rounded, I mean, he can be quite a force in this tournament.
Yeah, and it does seem like that they are very consistent in the LNs, and they did get both seed 6 on that, and seed 11 on Rice 1, which is kind of tanking their seed a little bit, as long as the SV, which they're going to get seed 10 on, but it doesn't really matter since that the consistency of the LN is going to kind of carry their seed just by a little bit, not that much though. But yeah, I guess we can move on now. We can move on. So, seed 6 is PGH, PG Hexon, I think. I don't even know if that right. I'm sorry for if I don't say your names right. But yeah, it does seem like that this player is also consistent with the LNs, and they're actually going to get seed 2 on that hybrid. So the first time that we see a podium on that hybrid, and which is actually pretty impressive, considering that we haven't really seen that just yet. But here we are now, and I think that this person is really like strong when it comes to LN oriented picks, just based off how they did on this qual.
to sort of make your seed lower. But yeah, we can move over to number 2.
And seed 2 is going to be Pogzu. And Pogzu is probably a name you heard of if you've been around for a really long time, as they are probably like one of the best LN players out there, LN push players out there. And it does seem to be that they are pretty all-rounded, getting first on that LN1, which is actually pretty impressive, and they are going to get seed 2 on that LN2. And it does seem like that their Rice isn't the strongest, but it's still really good, and the SV is once again going to take that score. So yeah.
Yeah, and for number 1, have the biggest highlight here, and it is going to be Tui PB 2009, which wow, incredible. You have so many amazing players in the other respective lower seeds, but Tui PB being the highlight of it all, smashing every single map with a number 1 on the Rice 1, a number 3 on Rice 2, and number 3 on LN1 again, the number 1 score on LN2 and Hybrid respectively. And I mean, this guy performed like a beast on the qualifiers, and I really do hope to see him in the tournament just excel and show what he's really built for. But yeah, this will conclude the seed reveal. The qualifiers seed reveal.
The qualifier seed reveal, yeah. And congratulations to everyone that qualified for this tournament. And we will now be having the round of 16 Mappool showcase. So we'll be having that soon. So yeah.
Pretty interesting what the showcase has to bring, right? I mean, we are starting out the tournament in a round of 16.
Yeah. It's not a lot of tournaments that have the round of 16 format, but this one it does. And I guess we can close off the qualifier results now.
Yep.
So yeah,
that's gonna be pretty much it for that, and I'm just excited what we'll see in the maps. As I am sort of live reacting to this Mappool. So is Manuel, and I mean, yeah, I don't know. It'll be our honest reaction from two Mappoolers too, and we'll see what will happen here.
Yup. I guess we can move on to the first map. So yeah, the first map is going to be Rainbow Road by Omega Y, and this is going to be the Rice 1 pick. Going to be 3 minutes long, so this is what I would imagine being a stamina draining pick. And this is going to be ramping up at 170 BPM, so 170 BPM this early on is going to be kind of a struggle with some players.
Yeah, I mean, this tournament, it just seems to be very, 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 very hard from the start, just kind of not letting off anyone easy. I mean, 170 BPM is quite high, and with this patterning, I mean, it may be pretty simple overall, but these single streams are sort of giving me that vibe that this is going to be pretty hard to hack. I mean, yeah, just kind of hard overall to excel in ratio wise. I do believe this battle will be more fought on the 200s and break side more than ratio, because not a lot of players can ratio speed overall, and I do believe single streams are kind of even harder to ratio. It's that finger control you have to have, but yeah, patterns are sort of repeating themselves with some breaks here in the patterning, which sort of kind of lets you reset. And a little higher, larger break right now, and it's probably for the better, as this pick is 2 minutes and 49 seconds long. So we are going to be seeing that overall kind of longer speed pick, even considering the break. you know, on the break here, you can really settle into your nerves and maybe even perform worse. This pick is, I mean, this break might be like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of these maps where you can kind of give it your all. Like, this can test like basically everything that, you know, like figure control, consistency, like how careful you are with these patterns, especially like this one and this show with an additional double, which is going to kind of play with people's accuracy, maybe even combo. Maybe it can trip up some players there, but yeah, as we get back into the groove, we still have these single streams that are really hard to ag, and I feel like it's going to be quite a struggle for most of these players, as this is probably like one of the hardest maps to hack in the entire pool. If I had to,
I mean, yeah, that just goes with the perspective of playing playing speed picks in the tournament. Speed isn't really meant to be ratioed. People that can ratio speed have an incredible ability that just allows them to excel and maybe, like, possibly just get a free point off of the ratio alone. But without further ado, I think we can move over to Race 2, as this pick is just really simple and there's not a lot of stuff to talk about here.
Yeah, it can move on, and this is going to be anti-freeze by Woes Pro. So going to be 230. I believe this is handstream stamina, I think. But yeah, as we do get into this map, we do see that there is quite simple jump stream patterns, and now we are getting into probably the densest. This is probably like the map that is in disguise for now. And it does seem like the replayer did play this on Scorpio 2 instead of Scorpio 1 instead of Scorpio 2, but it's fine.
That's okay, you get the idea. Anyway, we are just gonna be seeing a lot of trills overall here, with all kinds of trills, having some one hands here and there, with a little bit of split trill and jump trill all throughout, sort of sprinkled in. So this map sort of relies on you just being able to last through the anchors, the trills, and even though this is 230 BPM and only 2 minutes long, this pick will be incredibly draining, as it just keeps on pounding and pounding you with those trills, just making you insanely tired. But like half of the match, half of the pick, especially that you do get that the kind of song that just puts you in that it puts you in that vibe, you know. And yeah, I will want to see how players do on this, because this is not your, I guess, very typical stamina pick.
Yeah, this is pretty dense for 230 BPM, but this map is nothing to scoff at about at all, as there is some handstream aspects in this, as long as jump stream aspects, but it's kind of a mix of both, if I had to say. But yeah, this is probably one of the shortest picks, I believe. I have no idea, but yeah, as that is going to come to its conclusion, you still have these handstream patterns that could drain your stamina just a little bit, but yeah, and it does seem like that is going to be the end of the map, so we can now move on to Race 3.
Yeah. And
it...
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna start off with 131 BPM, and this is a dump pick, right?
I believe so. Or maybe
this is mixed. Oh, okay, it just starts. Okay, so I guess in this case we are just gonna be seeing a jack pick, which does have some roles, sometimes has a stream here and there, and that is a big thing to note. On maps like this, there's a huge possibility people just straight up miss or break their accuracy on the rolls, as they're sort of unexpected. In the heat of the battle, you might forget that you sort of get those streams.
Yeah, and there is some streams to kind of trip you up and kind of like jump scare you, and that could really mess up your accuracy if you're not careful enough. If you don't actually notice that kind of bursts are there. But yeah, and we are now into the dense jack part, and it does seem like that this is very angry, and could be very stamina draining for some players. But yeah, this is probably like the safest pick for people, as I think that jack is the safest pick for most players. But well, not necessarily actually, because maybe you
Not
could miss
necessarily.
and then you could miss and then it could be the end of days. But for this pick, you need to not miss at all. You need to have that consistency, especially because this is a very denser than the average normal tournament jack map.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even though it does kind of follow that speed jacky structure, it is very dense at times, and I do believe that could kind of mess you up alongside the anchors with courting when you're very stressed. You could do a miss or two. That gets shown even on the replay. Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the overall gist of it. This is just gonna be an incredibly tricky jack pick that only the people that are truly comfortable on jack can pick safely and know for sure nothing is gonna happen. So I do believe this is a very good jack pick for this pool. Actually, I am very impressed. I like this a lot.
Yeah, and the map is coming to its conclusion. Reaper did miss again, but it is okay. And yeah, that is going to be Y Red induction by Midred. So thank you to Midred for that custom map. And we can now move on to Rice 4, which I believe is Tech. So yeah, it is going to be DVP by Sky. You guys
Wow.
might know this. You guys might know this.
I mean, DVP by Ska is a map and a half here. Won't this be overshot for this pool? This is hard.
Probably. I mean, you can see it's very like different in like density than the rest of the other picks. But yeah, coming into this map, we do see that there is a bit of bursts and braces and jacks, so it's going to be a mix of all three of those, and these chills as well. So this is like all you can imagine in the Rice map, basically. So this, you could call this a mixed pick, but this is probably a tech pick, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of worried for the players picking this, because I mean, DVP is incredibly hard on the finger control aspect. This pick, yeah, it's just truly hard. Yes, and also just Ka's mapping style in general makes it so a pick like this is incredibly hit or miss always. No matter what type of player you are, picking a Ska pick is like gonna be a gamble.
Yeah, especially with Scott's starting style. You could see some patterns that you really did not expect coming to this map. I mean, you still have these patterns that did originally start off the entire map. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of just really dense. And you see these jacks, which could really trip you up. And it's going to kind of jump scare you to the point where you could potentially either drop back or drop your combo, which is not going to be a good thing. So make sure this is probably not the map that you want to side read, honestly. Like, this is probably like the map that I would best want to side read other than the SV.
I mean, for the players that have already played it, I would argue that it's maybe even better to not play it again before. But for the players that have not ever seen this map, I mean, I recommend you guys play it at least once. As Manuel said, I mean, this map is just simply not really sight readable, as the presentation style in this is incredibly hit or miss, in my opinion, in what will the mapper do in the current moment to the song. And I guess that sort of goes with mostly every Ska chart. But without further ado, I think we can move over to a lens, right? Hybrid.
Yeah, we can move on to that Rice 5, and Rice 5 is going to be... Yeah.
5 Rices, okay.
Okay. I think there's 6, yeah. But here we are, Geki Show Infinity. So this map was a custom map for MWC 2025 for the semifinals round, I believe. So yeah, this is going to be The dump pick, I think. So yeah. To start off, you do have some dumpy patterns and some trills onto that, and this map is just very endless. I don't think you get a single break in this map.
Yeah, this pick, I guess everybody is familiar with it. They watched the WC. It's just decently hard, but it does have a lot of those hot spots with bursts that are, in some ways, kind of unpredictable.
Yeah, it pretty much is very unpredictable, and yeah, even if you think that like these are break parts, you still have those like trills which can kind of play with your accuracy if you're not careful enough, but you still have these kind of streaming bursts and these trills as long as that with that, and yeah, and these patterns are just very continuous and it just does not stop at all. This is what I was talking about from the very beginning when I said that you don't get a single break in this map.
Yeah, and it being quite short, it's also an incredible gamble. Once again, like this Copic, just because I mean this Copic is a gamble patterning wise. This one is a pretty nice gamble just because it's 2 minutes long, and everything here will punish you 10 times harder than like a 4-minute kind of more grounded pick.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the map is coming close to its conclusion as these patterns are just very continuous, like I said, and that long jack is going to probably trip some players up, and you have this last stream burst or speedy part. But yeah, that does conclude the map, and we can now move on to Rice 6, I believe.
Yeah, and so the mixed pick.
Yeah, mixed pick. And it is going to be Parvorbital by Rift.
Another Parvorbital. Holy.
Huh. Okay.
I thought this was gonna be the TTI one for a second.
No. I feel like that would be too easy, no?
Maybe.
Yeah. If you guys did not know Rifto, you charted, well, maybe that's understandable. I feel like the only tournament that I've seen them chart is for the Russian tournament that happened earlier this year. So, yeah, go check out their maps, and I can tell you that they're pretty good. So, yeah, Rifto is going to be making a custom for this, as long as making the replay, and especially with this song. So it's going to be. You can kind of expect the patterns when you listen to the song. So yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have a nice idea of what the map is trying to do once you listen to it. Maybe it's not the biggest, maybe it's not the like most sight-readable pick out of everything, but as mixed picks goes, they're kind of predictable in what they do and when a certain part is gonna come. And I mean, especially if you just are familiar with thrums in general and their sort of this like production style, you will have an idea what is about to come next. And these patterns now intensifying with the song just a little bit, actually starting to get pretty dense and starting to pick up on speed also, just in general being quite punishing on the stamina factor.
Yeah, for sure. And it does seem like that we will have these kind of mini jacks, this mini jaggy section, as that can kind of really just like mess up your accuracy if you're not careful enough. You might have to have the ultimate finger control for you to even like SS that at that point. But yeah, as we do get into the last bits of this map, we do have these kind of streaming bursts along with these mini jacks. So this part is not basically like the easiest part, as you still do have those long jacks, pretty much everything you can imagine in this map, as it is a Frums map, and Frums maps are meant to be very unorthodox. So yeah, you can kind of expect these patterns in this map.
I mean, yeah, as the song kind of decomposes here, you're sort of seeing that with the charting style in general, as it is just going to be slowly more broken up. And with the final burst being very mean. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that was one hell of a patterning. But yeah, that does conclude our rice pool, I believe. If we don't have one more, so I guess we can move on to our hybrids or LNs. I'm sorry, I don't remember. But yeah, let's see. Oh, okay. We're moving on to our LNs, I believe. So this is going to be boss fight after party. Pretty classic map, I would say.
Yeah.
Patorage.
I mean, Patorage in the pool is always nice, right? We love Patorage.
Yeah. But yeah, we do have these shieldy LN patterning, which is not really that hard, I would say, but it might be for some people. And
it is definitely tricky for some people that just hate shields.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does seem that it is going to be kind of a streamy LN pick, I would say. And it is very techy, I would say. You know, like, especially with these graces and, you know, these inverse sections like this one. And yeah, it's just a mix of all of those, and going to kind of see what you can kind of do in this map. Like, maybe your finger control is required for this, and also your consistency, as this map is really hard to FC. Yeah, if you know this map, you know this map, honestly.
This map is just gonna be incredibly hard here. Isn't this not overshot? Isn't this like quarters or semis? I don't know.
I don't know. Probably.
Anyway, banger map still. But yeah, it is just gonna be kind of... I would argue this is kind of gonna go towards that LN boss picky vibe at this point. Because I mean, this map, it goes hard, and it's not really forgiving for anybody who is, I guess, lesser versed in LN.
Yeah, I feel as though that people can kind of struggle on this pick, because it really is a tough LN map. And the fact that it is pulled here very early into this pool, I mean, it's going to be one hell of a struggle for most of these players, and we are still in the map, and this is probably the point where, this is probably the breaking point, honestly. And yeah, the map is close to coming to its conclusion, and we just still have these inverse patterns with alongside with the Jax. So yeah, this could kind of be really good for some players towards the end. And the replayer did miss at the end. Okay. Well, yeah.
That is unfortunate.
But yeah, we can move on to our LN2, and this is actually a map that people might know. Lunatic Eyes by the Fong. So this is actually a loved map. If you know this, you know this, honestly. But yeah, this is going to be 200 BPM, and this is going to be a pretty short LN pick, I would say. Probably the shortest LN pick. Well, yeah, because boss fight after party was really long, and this is kind of just like your average density pick.
Yeah. But it does have some tricky patterning, like here, that kind of sort of 3-column bias here with just one hold note. That is quite hard for a lot of people, you know? It requires a different amount of finger control, right?
Yeah, this definitely does. I mean, for pretty much every density pick, you need the finger control, or else you could kind of mess up on something, and it could be really much the end of days, as your opponent might have that strength at this point. But finger control is really important, as well as with consistency. I feel like consistency is more important than finger control at this point. But the accuracy is also supposed to be there, as accuracy in LN is kind of important at this point. Like, you need to make sure that your ratio is up to par. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. But yeah, we do see these inverse patterns, and yeah, it does seem that this part does test your finger control, but yeah, we are now getting back into the density pattern, and it's going to be so difficult from here on out. And this is probably like the densest section of them all.
Yeah, I mean, we're reaching the climax of the song, and it just constantly kind of swaps between the directions. Being, I guess, a very directional pick in general when it comes to where the trills are and sort of where the trickier releases in the density are. And as we're going towards the end, it's just gonna be the final highlight with some inverse, and it's gonna be the end of the map. And yeah, this is gonna be incredibly hard for people to get good accuracy on. I mean, this is not the easiest of the easy maps here. Definitely maybe a highlight on the difficulty in the pool besides the other one.
Yeah, for sure. And we can move on to the hybrids now. So hybrid 1 is actually going to be Diabolic Enemy by Woe is Pro once again. And this is not a custom map this time, so yeah. We are doing slot pulling, I guess. I don't really know how to call that. But yeah, this is going to be 284. This is going to be 3 minutes long, so this is probably like really hard for hybrid 1, I would say. But
yeah,
it is semifinals difficulty, so it does make sense either way. But it probably shouldn't be that dense then. But yeah, we are now getting into the KI, I believe. But yeah, this is going to be really like stamina draining this early on.
This seems a little ricey, more than and we are going into the LN, but I do believe it's a little bit more rice favored in general, so kind of look out for that. At least in the beginning parts. It is definitely gonna have most of its difficulty in the rice bursts out of everything.
Yeah, it's going to kind of increase the difficulty with those bursts alone, and you have these jacks which could probably mess up your finger control, honestly. But yeah, these streamy patterns are, it's kind of like the entire map, I would say. But this is probably like the only break section you get. Well, it is a large song, so there is a chance that you might get another break section. So yeah, we are now getting into the second job.
Kind of cut up abrasive LN pack, something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, this is very bursty, I would say.
Yeah, and what is interesting, it's very bursty, but in the moments that it doesn't just slap you with those bursts, it is incredibly control-y. So that's sort of switching between having a very high sense of control here and just straight up bursts that absolutely demolish your stamina. This is gonna be a pretty hard pick to stay consistent on. But yeah, as we're moving into the final burst here, and this is just gonna be, yeah, this is just hard, man. Why is this uprated? I guess it's just a very difficult pick in general. I mean, this one is gonna be the outlier. The difficulty and consistency that you have here, it's gonna be incredibly hard to stay consistent on a thing like this. So yeah, I guess we're moving on to the second hybrid. No. Oh, it's gonna be Blue Potions Nuclear Star down rated. Wow. It's sort of having that longer pick that's gonna be a little bit more, I guess, lower in BPM in general. Gonna be a little bit more chill. Already starting with inverse. For the people that are now well versed in the LN sort of aspect here, that's gonna be quite hard to hit. from the start of the map, I mean, yeah, this is just gonna punish the players that are not really that good at LN. This is a hybrid pick that pretty much it's so LN favorite compared. Yeah, in general, it's just a lot of LN players will be having the time of their lives on this. And we're moving on to the commerce section. I mean, that first sort of Ki was pretty hard. I can't imagine people doing very high scores on this, as I mean, you're going straight, because this is a cut version, you're going straight into that sort of Ki section of the song and just left with a little break that still leaves a lot to be desired in terms of the calmness of it, as you still have that control-y aspect. And as we're going into the second drop, I mean, you once again have those inverses that are incredibly hard to hit, ending it with a burst and hopping into the section, which is gonna be kind of more mixed in what it does, having some staggered releases but mostly just relying on the shields here to try to pump up that difficulty. Yeah, and I mean, this is gonna be another outlier difficulty. This tournament overall is just hard. I was not expecting this. I went into this blind and this is just hard. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Pretty balanced part here, with just a lot of staggered releases, some bursts here and there. But yeah, once again, this is a very shieldy hybrid. This will mostly rely on the shields and mini jacks to sort of trip you up alongside with some of the streams. And I mean, yeah, it's just gonna be a pretty difficult pick in general to sort of go through. Also, it being on the longer side, it's probably going to be a little bit of a crutch for the players that have incredible stamina, but maybe don't do as well on the consistency side. Yeah, and with that, we can move over to the next pick. Oh, well, the problem. Well, that is interesting. We did replay issue. Um, okay, what it just put the map. It was supposed to be an auto. Yep, it's gonna be here soon, I swear, guys. Play it in auto, man. I have places to be. Come on, bro. Yeah, so we are gonna be seeing volcanic, which is for sure interesting for an SV pick. And we are gonna be seeing my Go LV3 plane on the SV, but I do believe you picked the wrong map. Oh, okay. Now we are getting into the actual map, and my Go LV3 on the SV pick. Also, F4 a couple times, man. Yeah. It is just going to be a pretty polarizing pick, I guess, because you know you're not really, you don't really think this V pick is just straight up gonna be volcanic. And some jumps here. We already saw some teleports. This is just gonna be hard in general here, I do believe, because you have the predisposition sort of to this song just not being made like this. And yeah, we're just gonna rely on the jumps a little bit and some teleport action here. It just sort of flows well with the map in general, so I do believe the players that are a little less versed in the hard SV will have an easier time with this. Although as it is sort of going farther and farther into the map, the SV's difficulty is increasing just that little bit. You're gonna have that repeated motion, which is very, very, very hard to hit for a lot of people. A lot of people get confused on reading something like this, and this is just crazy. This is where the difficulty is. Yeah, and as we're going into the end, we're just gonna repeat the, I guess famous chorus of volcanic, and we're gonna end it off with a little bit of a stream. Yeah, and that is it for this map, and we can get over to what is this? Oh, SV2. Okay, to the next SV pick, which is actually gonna be Mappool's Memories of the Heart. I guess being a little bit more standard in general in the SV department for what you can expect. from tournaments, kind of doing a lot of slow jam and stuff like that. Just in general, being I guess more expected. Some memory here to be had, of course, too, or at least people with fast reading could probably do this, but I don't think it's very, very sight readable. Yeah, it's just gonna be sort of kind of polarizing, you know. Two SV picks are that at that stage where I play that's very good in SV in this tournament. It can just easily grab those 2 points. Yeah, and I mean we're seeing the typical shenanigans that goes with tournament SV. Just some LNs here, some teleports, some very quick action, something that you need to at least probably play once in order to really play well. Yeah, this will be it for this pick. And I can move over to the TB. Yeah, it's gonna be a custom map too, which is pretty nice. And Rift Toy with the FC, that's crazy. We're already gonna be seeing incredibly hard TBs here. I mean, if this is semi-difficulty, then you'd have to think that Grand Finals is gonna be truly difficult, right? But for now, I mean, we are just going into the beginning of this map. And there's not much to say yet. I guess I'm just gonna let you guys listen to the song just that little bit. Yeah, and as we're sort of going into that first section of the actual map, we're gonna be seeing a full rice section with a lot of bursts, kind of sort of reminding you of that typical TB style you see in the ranked maps, and a little bit of a lower SR, of course. The higher SR maps are just sort of no structure at all at this point, but here, oh, that's not an FC. Okay, so this has a very high combo cap. Yeah, I mean, this is just gonna be quite punishing for the players. This being this long and at this difficulty, this will, I guess, be quite a hard pick to kind of in the nerves play properly, especially those anchors here and there, kind of not letting you relax at all, and this section being incredibly hard to control. You know, it is just quite hard in general. What else can I say about this pick? Constantly kind of bombarding you with that LN wall here, with that bursty LN wall. I guess LN's not being that long, but being incredibly dense, and even seeing some stagger releases, and this is absolutely crazy. Yeah, and we were sort of in that calm section, a little bit of a break for the players, but it's still being controlly enough where you cannot really let your guard down if it's considered. Going into a very technical part here, you'd have to think, is this realistically FCable for the players here if it does end up getting to a tiebreaker?
Alright, I think that's it for all the maps in the round of 16. Good luck to all the players playing this round. And shout out to Kita, these are for the custom map. And yep, I think all the matchups, schedulings will be updated soon. Good luck in your matches, and we'll see you next time.